And the South will literally smother anything down, including vegetables. And I'm telling y'all, it's pressure. Let's get into it. So when it comes to the green beans, you can use frozen, canned, or fresh. If they're fresh, snip off the stem end and rinse them under cold water. Now we need to normalize using different cutting boards for different things in the kitchen. Let's not cross-contaminate. But to add buku flavor to this dish, we're going to come with bacon and andouille sausage. If you don't have andouille sausage, you can use smoked sausage. For this recipe, I used about a half a pound. You can cut it however you want. I like to cut it down the middle like this and then cut them into semicircles. Sometimes I'll cut them into rounds, but the choice is yours, however you want to do it. So cut that up, put that to the side. I'm going to do the same thing with about 4 to 5 strips of bacon. I like to cut them into about a half an inch to an inch pieces, but you could also keep it whole, fry it, and then chop them up like that. And I said earlier, this is where all the flavor comes from. All that fat gonna render down is gonna be key to this dish. Now for the vegetables. Again, get a clean cutting board and a clean knife. We're gonna start off with our onion. Now, as we know, everyone hates cutting onions, but there's 2 things you can do to make sure your eyes don't burn. First is the type of knife you use. You want to get your sharpest knife in the kitchen so it'll slice straight through the onion. If you use a dull knife, it'll just push the gases right out. Secondly, you want to put a bowl of ice cold water next to the cutting board and it'll absorb all those gases. Now you want to come with your garlic. That's one of the best aromatics you can use. Whenever a recipe calls for it, I always double it. I need all of it. And when mincing garlic, you always want to add some salt to the cutting board and it will help that knife not stick to all the garlic. Now we're going to put all that to the side for now. Now the best pots for these type of recipes will be a Dutch oven or a cast iron. We're going to start off by cooking down our bacon. And y'all see how that wooden spoon is burnt at the tip? You know this one been putting a lot of work in making some roux over the years. Whenever you cook down meats and vegetables, it'll start creating fond, F-O-N-D. That brown stuff at the bottom of the pot is basically caramelization that'll put so much flavor in every dish. So the more the better. Don't be scared that you're burning something. This is why I say use a Dutch oven or cast iron. We're going to cook our sausage down in the same bacon grease to render down some more fat. And you can strain this out and use this for another recipe in place of butter, but we're going to use about 3 tablespoons of this to start off a roux. Add in about 2 tablespoons of flour, and then we're going to mix this up for about 5 minutes on a low heat. Now, a lot of people don't make roux for smothered green beans, but I like how it forms a glaze over the green beans instead of a runny liquid. So again, the choice is yours. Now we're going to throw in our onions, and we're going to let that saute into the roux. This should take about another 5 minutes, and then we're going to add in our seasonings. And that basically consists of granulated garlic, paprika, and Cajun seasoning. Remember, if you ain't sneezing, it ain't seasoned. Now throw in your garlic and we're going to let that cook for another minute until it's nice and fragrant. And from here, we're going to add about a half a cup of chicken stock. This will help release that fond from the bottom of the pan. Use your wooden spoon and we're going to deglaze the whole pan. At this point, your roux should have absorbed all the liquid and all that fond should be up from the bottom of the pan. And then you want to come with as many green beans as the Lord allows. And that consists of anywhere from 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds of green beans if you want to know. Now you want to pour in another 2.5 cups of your chicken stock. And don't worry if your green beans aren't completely submerged in the liquid. As it cooks down, it'll sink into it. And when you see that foaminess at the top, that means your roux is working. Good job. Now we're going to bring this to a rolling boil, and then we're going to reduce the heat to low. We're going to let this simmer for about 25 to 30 minutes covered. Now while our green beans are smothering, we're going to come with about 4 or 5 red potatoes. You can peel the skin off or keep it on. Cut them into quarters, then we're going to go ahead and remove our top from our green beans and throw our potatoes in there. You want to push them down into the liquid, and if you don't have enough liquid, you can always add a little bit more. Push your potatoes down into it, and then we're going to cover it up again for another 15 minutes until our potatoes are nice and tender. After 15 minutes, you could give it a test with a fork to see if it's tender. If it's not, just put it back in there uncovered for another 10 minutes. Now, this is where you want to adjust it to your taste. Taste it. If it's already good, let it go. If you want to add some more Cajun seasoning, go ahead and do that. As with all my recipes, adjust it to how you like it. Now add your sausage and your bacon back into the pot. Give it a good mixing. You should be salivating at this point. Just look at that. Yes, Lord. Now you can serve this as a side dish, or you could add it over rice and eat it as a main dish. Let me know how y'all like it. And just like my name, you're all done.